What is up, my slime? You're probably wondering how I did this, and I will tell you right about now. Ready, go! First, I looked for the longest list of words that start with F. I eventually settled on one made by Scrabble, which in total was 6,951 words. You may be noticing the footage from this intro was recorded back in March 14th. So what did I do between then and now? I grinded with my bones, blood, and body. I created 3 rounds of elimination with 3 categories so I could sift only to the cream of the crop. Skip to this time code in the video if you want to see the final 42 words in a blazing all-out bracket-style challenge to truly find the best F word. But if you want to see my journey to how I got to said 42 words, either click the first link in the description on this document, or listen here, my fellow inquirer. By far the biggest and the first round of elimination was the phonesthetics category. The best F word of all time can't be no bitch, it can't be mediocre, wishy-washy, it's gotta have spunk, it's gotta have elegance. Sorry if you don't like the word spunk. But spunk would be a good example, or moist would be a good example of a word that elicits a reaction, aka has strong phonesthetics. On the other side of the spectrum, you have a word like fluffy, where it just has an it factor. Like, come on, like, who doesn't like the word fluffy? From there, we're left with these 555 beautiful princesses. But do these dames have the personality to back up their prestige? Oh geez, I sure hope so, because this round's elimination, round 2, is the imagery category. Genocide, as only 144 words remain. A lot of words are all bark, no bite. For example, fishmonger. You think it's gonna be some cool apocalyptic Borderlands type fish dealer, and it's a Brit. Anyways, the last category is applicability, and I know some words can be good or even great, but let's be honest, the best possible word has to be somewhat applicable in most situations, right? If you want to see why I eliminated each word, you can check the document, or a couple of them are flashing on the screen, but I did this for every single one, and that left us with 42 words, and those ones I inputted into the bracket, and I haven't recorded that yet, so hopefully it's worth it. I really hope it. So grab your popcorn, get something to swig on, and as long as you have these things done, you can watch the video. So first thing is get your life together. Did you do your taxes? Slowly doing happy. Loved ones. Inflation's getting crazy. When's the last time you called your mom? Wake up! You got homework! Alright, I'm done giggling around. Come on, let's go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's your fuckboy from the New York City, Tony Balog. No, I'm not gonna keep up the New York voice the whole time, I promise. Nah, come on, you know me. It's John Balls, baby. I'm back. I've been moved to New York in my brand new apartment, and started doing ayahuasca, and I'm doing great. Anyways, we're gonna get into these preliminaries here. The first matchup we got is phase versus flow. Now, you know me, I wrote this down. You can phase up anywhere, anytime, any place. I'll be there, you know what I mean? On the other hand, you're nice with the flow. Actually, we spin the block over on the corner of 5th and 7th, where, we go to Vito's Pizzeria, and Marcello's there with me on my right and Donna on my left, and so we always say phase instead of phase. No, I can't keep this up. Phase obviously has the Phase Clan, but then it's also like phasing through something or going through like a periodic time, whereas flow, it appeals to either rap lyric, water, any like liquid, smooth attitude, behavior-ish type. Straight off the bat, flow provides a lot more imagery, and I think that's a lot more relatable to most people because, everybody has seen a liquid in their lives before. Whereas phasing isn't really prevalent, and I'm not saying that it has to be prevalent. Again, it doesn't have to be super applicable, but I think flow also comes with that imagery. I think it just hits harder. So flow, moving on to the next round. Next we got Fable, and then Flows, so flow with an S. Funny enough, Flows does flow with an S, because it's flow, and your mouth's already doing the O's, so all you have to do is close your teeth. However, unlike the original Flow, I feel like it's a bit of a tougher matchup with the Fable, because there's that video game series, and I think the idea of romanticizing any story, like going to the grocery store or daily life, like gamifying things, is a fantastic way to live. You know, it could brighten up everybody's day. And the over-exaggeration of calling just a regular story or going to buy groceries a fable or a quest is fantastic to me. This might be because I'm just a male and I like medieval stuff and swords and shields because they're freaking awesome, but I think Fable takes this one. Next round, fluid and flung. Again, you'll notice fluid is in here. That's because for the applicability setting, most people will get what this means no matter what part of the country you're in or even the world, right? Everybody has a quintessential need for water. Like, you must have that in order to live, so everyone gets what a fluid is. But then again, I think my note for flung was you could throw something at all times unless you're shackled to the wall, right? And even then you can throw your body around, assuming you're not in like an asylum with like mummy all around. I don't know, the fluid makes like a little nasally sound, and I don't know whether that's the way I'm saying it, but either way, it makes me feel like a little bitch from Denver or Nebraska named Sam or Hamilton, both of ages. So yeah, I think Flung's going to take the bread on this one. Next up, flash and froze. Oh, sorry, that's flush and froze. Again with the water, again with the liquid. I swear not all of them are like this. And I guess frozen liquid as well, because that's froze. I'm going to go ahead and say this one is fairly a no-brainer, and you're an idiot to think otherwise, because flush, you know, anytime something is flushing, it's like going away, right? Or a river is going down, and you can't really mess with that because that's not fresh water, typically, right? It's usually like a creek or whatever. I'm not a survival expert. But froze just has so much imagery that just punches you right away. It's like things that just come off the top of my head, like frozone, frozen, nope. Somebody like frozen shock, that happens a lot, and people are also attached to the word froze. Like, nobody wants to get frozen. That's a horrible way to die, right? I'd rather burn to death. So I think froze takes it for this one. Next up is fruit and fabric. Off rip, I think this is a tough one. It's a toughie. No bubble guppy. Man, I don't even know where to start, because every civilization you typically has fruit or I guess vegetable, but we're not talking about vegetable. But like, I'm just going way back to early times. Like, everybody makes fabric, everybody harvests fruit, or again, most people. And then still today, fruit and fabric are both there, so they're both tied on like applicability. I think fruit being tied to taste is kind of a cheat code when it comes to imagery, because it also taps into the, I'm going to censor that. And you know what? This reason might be controversial, but I think that nobody should wear clothes ever. And I think it'd be a much more innocent society without them. So get fabric out of here. Let's go fruit. Next preliminary round. Fedora and female. Let's just say I know a lot about one of these. I'm a hat guy. I mean, after some careful consideration, fedora, I feel like culturally is a little bit overused. Hi, editor me here. What I was trying to articulate here was fedoras were awesome and cool before anyone said anything like that they were cool, but now everybody says they're cool, and now they're not as cool. Cool. I don't know, man, because fedoras are awesome, but also are the females. I'm a big pro-female guy. I don't know. See, most of this is just gonna get cut out, but I've been sitting here for 10 minutes. Like I need to keep moving on to this. This is a preliminary round. Oh, with that, by the way, I forgot to mention, but all the preliminaries were just randomly chosen. Like, I just went straight down the list. Okay, I have my answer. Since we're comparing two not comparing one object and another non-object, we're gonna go with the living being the female. It is a really cool hat. It is a really cool hat, but we'll go for the females next round. Flaunt and flavor. This will be the only time you see me spell flavor without the U, because I love the U and it makes sense to me, but since it has to be a linguistically correct graph, I will keep it as flavor with an OR. And again, like fruit, flavor taps into flavor, like one of the 6 human senses. If you're talking about me, my 6 human sense, psh, you know what the kids say. Come on, Riz. Sorry, that was stupid. Flaunt and flavor. Flaunt, flavor, flavor, flaunt. I think it's fairly obvious if you've gotten this far in the video that you can see I like to flaunt. I like to be an idiot, but be an idiot in stride and with pride. But some flavors are so yummy. But then flavor is such a cop-out word, right? Because it's like if you ask what the flavor of something is, that's okay, but you can never describe the food you're eating as, oh, this is like flavor. flavor, right? It has to be like umami, salty, whatever. I think for that reason, I'm gonna move flaunt on. I'm gonna move it on because I also like the idea of like flaunting in like sports or like competition. And using the word flaunt instead of taunt or showboat, I feel like it's a more feminine word that has a little bit more tactility in it, if that makes sense. Next up, floaty and floppy. Well, I know a few things I like to flop. James Harden. My penis. Unrelated. Or are they? Red Rocket? Red? So dumb. Floaty. Floaty is a very good word. It's a feeling most people can relate to, I feel like, where you're happy and you had yummy food and there's dopamine in your head and you're like, ooh. It's like when you sniff a pie and you like lift off the ground because you're like, something like that, right? Floppy. I'm gonna choose some careful wording here. Floppy is like a waffle. It could be good because like a chewy waffle, but it's like, you know, who wants a chewy waffle? Like, I'll have a chewy waffle every once. Okay, this could be taken out of context. I just realized. Moving on. I've come to the conclusion I cannot talk about floppy. As I am legally an adult, I shall not act like one forever. And for that reason, floaty moves on. Next matchup. Freeze and frosty. Two cold words. Two, again, vivid words that have very powerful imagery. No one wants to get frozen to death. No, everybody knows what ice is like and like, oh, physics and stuff like that. Frosty, same thing. Besides, it's usually on an object, right? Where it's like, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about. Or it's a Wendy's Frosty. Two words very similar, so I'm going to look for the difference phonetically, probably. Which, freeze, I don't know. I think of kneeling on someone's neck for 9 minutes straight every time I hear the word freeze, kind of vaguely, which isn't super good. Whereas frosty, I'm like, frosties are good. That red hair girl, she knows what she's doing. Red Rocket, James Harden, Metapod use Harden on my rocket. Bars! Where even was I? Frosty. Stay frosty. Yeah, frosty moves on. It has a Y. Y is kind of like a cheat code, right? Because you can go like baby voice, like frosty. Anyways, moving on. Finesse and fistful. Fistful, finesse. Finesse, fistful. I'm tripping in finesse, wearing red like Bruno Mars. But I'm fisting. I got a fistful of your girl in the pool. What's the other word? Finesse. Named Finessa. I'm finna use my right rocket to Boston James Harden. Bars! Okay. Some people say fear the beard. I embrace it. I'm trying to think of all the situations in which somebody has a fistful of something. Like, it could be gummy worms. Like, you remember Dirt and Worms as a kid? It could be that. It could be marshmallows. I'm just thinking of food. I'm vaguely hungry right now. Fistful of, I don't know, dirt at work. If you're using your hands to work, landscaping, and you're cutting roses, and you pick up the petals. Fistful of noodles, I've done that once, don't ask why. But finesse I feel like just has the it factor where every time somebody uses finesse, it's appropriate, right? Or even referring to somebody that has a lack of finesse, or like does a bad play in soccer is the first thing that comes to mind. Does a bad play, that's I sound like I've never played soccer in my life. I've played soccer, I swear. I'm always playing with the ball like I play with their hearts. New York, fuck boy. No, yeah, finesse moves on to the next round. Good morning, America. And yeah, just like that, we're on to a 32-word bracket. I've been John Balls, signing off. Be sure to phase up to your parents, little ones. And James Harden, I'm coming for you, baby. Are we all? Oh, no. Alright, sweet. Dude, Cheryl's looking so fine. Hi, my name's Gabe, and I like celery and Kirby. The next words are, flubbed up, and flow, like from Progressive. That was a joke. I don't know what this character's supposed to be.
Flubdub has some really good, rings to it. It's like the sound that a dead body makes. My name's Gabe. I like Minecraft.
I'm sorry if this isn't funny to you. It's funny to me. I'm sorry. Flubdub and Flow. I feel like now, after considering Flow without the S, I feel like Flow with the S is better. I feel like it flows more. Huh? And Flubdub, come on. Flubdub's just such a cool word. Also, it's just like a great substitute if somebody's like, oh, what's with all the hullabaloo or whatever. Flubdub is just another completely goated word that you can just fling out whenever you want to, and everyone's gonna be like, you're a funny guy. Well, I don't know. I don't know if they'd say that to me, but Flubdub freaking brings home the bacon on this one. Next is Fig Eater and Fable. Oh my god, it's a disaster. This is the only thing recording right now. I'm using like this mostly empty ice cube thing, not sponsored, to prop this up, which is the worst thing because it's like equally weight. It's an equal weight to the phone. So yeah, Fig Eater and Fable. So we've already gone through what makes Fable great, right? Fig Eater. You may be wondering, what is a fig eater? Someone that just eats figs? Is it slang? Is it derogatory? It is a green beetle. However, if you guessed that it was derogatory, I don't know this for sure, but I am willing to put my life and $1 million on the fact that somebody has insulted somebody by calling them a fig eater when they were not eating a fig. I think that's super funny. And, you know, funny, the best F word, funny comedy stuff is good emotion, right? It make people laugh. So maybe that's something to consider. Maybe. That being said, there's a third ant on my leg while recording this. I just flicked that fucker like 3 yards away. I always think the impact of that kills them. And okay, I don't try to kill ants like outside, but when they're in my room, I do not like them. Same I am. And so I'm hoping that this is not just the same ant 3 times in a row, because every time I flick them, I hope the impact of my flung, one of the words, just kills him on impact instantly, but he might just be running it back. Anyways, Fig Eater, Fable, I wish with my soul that I could advance Fig Eater, and maybe this will be the first honorary mention. But it can't move on. Fable is just too strong and too good a word. Fable moves on. So we have Flung and Fire Clay. Fire Clay is awesome. I am a big fan of Fire Clay. I've never used it myself. However, if you are not familiar with Fire Clay, first off, I don't blame you. Second off, I only know it because I played one Minecraft mod where you had to burn some clay in a machine to make a coke oven. Anyways, fire clay is like heat resistant clay, right? I think it's a very like grounded word in a literal sense, because both of those materials that you use to make things, and I feel like it's somewhat beautiful that fire clay, it's literally clay made for fire and usually from fire, so it's kind of symbolic. Flung is a lot more simple to the point. I don't know. If I had a monocle and a top hat right now, the sophisticated side of me would be saying fire clay. But flung, I feel like, is just so perfect. Like, there's no way to describe a flung body or like a flung large object. When you like fling a bicycle, like, you know the meme where people are like, oh, I'm gonna shoot the basketball, and then they shoot a bicycle. I don't really like it, but like, you can't describe that as throw, right? Or like flung is a better way to describe something that like requires more torque rather than just like a throw, like a push, you know what I mean? So they both have their strengths. I'd say one weakness is fire clay is definitely a pretty niche word, and if you're not using it as a metaphor, which I don't really know you would, how you would, would you how would you yeah, it's definitely just not used a lot. I was really rooting for it. Not as much as I was Fig Eater, so I'm not as torn up about this one, but fortunately my baby's gotta go. Flung moves on to the next round. Next round, fight. Flamencio and Flip Flop. Flip-flop, similar to flub-dub, is a word that sounds like it is, and flamenco is just a niche type of dance. But if you played Fortnite at all, you would know what the style is. There's a perfect emote to describe it, and it had beautiful music, and it was in my quick emotes because I liked the way it sounded. Yeah, I don't know about Flip-flop's chances because it's got a lot of spunk, I'll give it that, and I can appreciate that as much as the next guy, but Flamencio, it's just got a lot more cultural depth, and it's a lot more eulogetic. It's a great word even to use sarcastically. Like if I see some guy, some white dude busting out moves like myself, you know, I'm not a fantastic dancer. He's doing the little awkward like beer dance. Where was I going with that? I'm trying to hurt people or something. Yeah. No, Flamencio moves on. I just got an idea for something in editing. Next is froze and flourish. You make it look cool? Future Kolb? Turn me up, bro. Let's go. Hey. I hope. Are you doing it? God, bro. This is a very interesting matchup because, you know, froze is very dark, cold, either shock, associated with a lot of negative feelings, whereas flourish, you know, it's growth. Everybody's happy. First impression that I'm feeling is flourish, just because I'm a glass half full type of guy. I'm not. No, it's definitely pretty even, and I don't know, froze, it's got Z's, and the boys know I'm a slut for the Z's, man. It's a Z shit, it's a Z. But then again, I'm also a big OU guy. Like I like spelling color and favorite with the OU. Ugh, I feel like I'm picking between my two kids here. I don't know. Ugh, no, I don't know. I can't decide. I need a coin. So yeah, I got a granola bar. I couldn't find a coin. The title side will be froze, and the back side will be flourish. Flourish it is. These next two apples are flubbers and fluidity. And both these words are some that are phonetically pleasing to me, at least, right? And flubbers, like it's got a lot of spunk. Like it's got a lot of spunk. You can practically touch the flubber in your hand. Whereas fluidity, you know, it's smooth, it's elegant, it's graceful. It's a very juxtaposed matchup again. Might have to bring out the old granola for this one again. No, you know what? I'm an adult. I can vote for our next leader of President America. I want to choose fluidity. And I'll tell you why. Shit, man, I don't know. I was looking up more definitions for these two words, and I look up flubber, and the first article is flubber sentient, and it shows like this green guy, and it's so hilarious, and I love it. But fluidity is just such a smooth word. It's so good. And that's one I use pretty often as well. I don't know if I could live without that one. But then like flubber just got so much spunk. Again, it's like I'm tossing around the flubber, but it's not flubber, it's flubbers. So it'd have to be, we all tossed around our flubbers last night, which is bad because it's. Yeah, I think the S ruins it for me. Yeah, I don't know where the actual flubber fell off, but I trust my reasoning in the past, and so fluidity wins. Next up, we have fruit and frostbit. And before we go any further, I just remembered that I said society in the last comparison with fruit and fabric. Society. And now that I'm wearing this sweater for the Gabriel character, I would like to formally apologize, because if I said society in this sweater, I think that would be very cringeworthy. So, we'll not be saying that. Anyways, frostbit. Referring back to my fear of freezing to death, I feel like that caters to a lot of people's biggest fear. Or if I'm being biased and not fair to other people, but this is my list, so frick off. But just the story it tells with, if somebody's frostbit, and that spreads, that could spread all over your body when you slowly die, which is terrifying. That's horrible. Or it just slowly eats off some of your feet or your toes, and then you gotta get them amputated, or you can't use them, or you lose feeling, and that's just sad. Frostbite is a very deathly word. It's collagenic. I think that's the word. If not, make fun of me. And again, we're getting two words that are very different from each other. Fruit, you know, I associate that with a very jolly time. You can make jam it, you could bop it, you could twist it, you could pull it, and most of all, you can bop it. Vote me, 2026. I'm running for the candidacy, and I really want to win. I really want to win.
Free lettuce. to everyone, and you won't have to pay for Minecraft anymore. That is the Java version. I'm a virgin.
This was a little bit of a tough one, but I'm not feeling super cynical tonight, so let's go with fruit. Fruit's yummy, fruit's good. I think I've done that thumbs up like 4 times, I'm sorry. On to the other side of the bracket, where we have fungoids in the female. Now, the female, again, is something I've, worked around. I'm constantly communicating with these higher beings. Call me at this number on your screen. Fungoids, a word we haven't discussed, it's a synonym for fungi, but calling someone a fungoid is not used enough. I don't know if it's ever been used, but that definitely needs to be regulated. It needs to be mandatory. Also, I'm looking back at the past round. I wish we could combine the fedora and female as like a femme fatale. That'd be awesome. That phrase would probably be up there, but phrases are like impossible to sort through. Anyways, fungoid, female. Fungoid is super awesome. It's got so much spunk. Yeah, ladies, I apologize. I don't have a ukulele on me, on person, in my inventory. But just know, I'm rooting for you. Let's go. Fungoids moves on. Next up, we have flavorful and foppishly. Most, if not all people, know the word flavorful. It's just a spin on flavor, and it's full of flavor, right? It packs a punch. You eat something, and it's got a pungent taste. Something also with a high magnitude is foppishly, and for those unfamiliar, I was also previously unfamiliar before I did this, but it is someone who dresses extravagantly or kind of somewhat zesty gay from my interpretation, like somebody who dresses decoratively and is very interesting, which in my opinion makes it a very elegant word against another very elegant word. Wonder how many times I've said elegant in this video. In the Hunger Games, when there's everybody in the capital or from the capital, they all dress foppishly, but I also imagine they all say that word, like, looking quite foppishly today, Fabio. Cheerio, mate. I'm gonna go throw up my food and eat minus soup. Flavorful's got that good. Yes, I said. You know what I mean. You know what I mean, though. That's the thing, right? It's like barbecue, like savory. Like it's got a lot of. Cut, bro, cut. For the reason that foppishly is a little bit more zesty, which there's nothing wrong with, but opposed to something that's a lot more hands-on and a lot of people use it. It's got a high rate of understanding that has never been said before. A high rate of understanding for most people. I'm going to go with flavorful. I think that's the right choice.
Next up, we have fortitude and flaunt. Hi, you might not know me. I'm Jared from
No, fortitude and flaunt. Anyways, immediately I will say fortitude. Flaunt and flavor are just nothing compared to the strength of fortitude. Literally. Fortitude it's got tit in it. Come on. It's also a lovely word. It's got fort, and forts are usually fortified. And I think that's where fortitude comes from. Like it's describing like a fort. But fort's awesome. I love pillow forts. They're awesome. Everything about fortitude, like a pumpkin, has a lot of hardness on the outside and protects its innards, its juicy innards. I think fortitude's a great word. Describes a lot of things. Moves on. Next matchup, I think, is again no competition whatsoever. Floaty, I glazed it first round. However, femininity, come on, femininity is a cracked word. That is awesome. That is amazing word, and amazing word moves on. Simple as that. Go on. Go on. Go on. Go on. Unlike the last 2 matchups, this matchup might decide the winner. I've been eyeballing these words for a while throughout the sorting process. They are fireballer and foam flower. Let me tell you why they are both so great. Fireballer, it's got magic. You're a wizard. You're throwing fireballs, or you're a fireballer, like on the court. Come on, what is not cool about this word? Foam flower. You're in the bathtub. You make a flower out of the bubbles. The one thing foam flower doesn't have going for it is if you literally look up the type of flower that a foam flower is, it's kind of ugly, I won't lie. There's not many flowers that I don't like, but this one is definitely one that's just meh. Like a deep C-tier flower at best. Also, fireballer, I think its literal definition has to do with baseball, which is the lamest of the 3 options it could be interpreted, but Well, I guess any word could be interpreted anyway, but you know what I mean. So yeah, it's been a quick minute. You'll notice I look like Arnold Shortman or a guy who smoked weed every single day of the week now, but I let this one marinate for a little bit, and I think I've come to a conclusion. Fireballer has got to move on, because I think if we're going by literal definitions, they should matter, and foam flower just doesn't really cut it for me. My fantasies can't be indulged in that way, and I gotta be responsible and move on. Fireballer. Now we got Frosty and Freshwater. Freshwater, also a very strong contender. This southeastern quadrant of whatever of the bracket is very, very strong. Yeah, I'm looking ahead. I see Flamethrower. It's gonna be tough. Anyways, Frosty, Freshwater. Freshwater. Freshwater is just unmatched, man. Everyone knows what freshwater. Well, most people know the satisfaction of freshwater, and some people know better than others, but freshwater is awesome, so that moves on. Next matchup, Flirtatious and Flamethrower. Quite the different words together. Me personally, though, I pair them together. See, Flamethrowers always get me going when I'm like smooth talking. I'm like, yo, you want to see something sick? Throw my flames. Like I'm a fireballer. No, I don't know. This is a really tough one because Flamethrowers, again, like Fireballer, they're so awesome. Like, they're just beast mode, you know what I mean? But Flirtatious, everybody knows that feeling, you know? Somebody, oh, do you like me? Do you not? And I don't know, that's a sweet thing, a sweet feeling that I feel like doesn't ever really go away, you know? You get butterflies if you're talking to somebody you're attracted to. And they're like insinuating an attraction back, but nobody really knows. I don't know, it's cute. That's a good feeling. And Flamethrower is also a freaking awesome thing. I think I'm gonna have to use the second honorable mention, which means nothing other than I really am disappointed to eliminate this one, but Flamethrowers gotta back it out the barrel. Dude, I'm baked off the bluff. Dude, I'm baked. I'm baked off the bluff, bro. Finesse my way in this boy. He gave me a fucking slur. I'm sorry. I'm stalling. I can't. Let's break this one down. I don't know. They're just super different. It's hard to compare them. I did it, but I cut all the footage because I was just waffling all the time. So, long story short, Finesse moves on. I'm sorry, Fluff. Couldn't get the job done. If you're noticing, the second cam isn't up because I ran out of storage on my phone, and I was gonna only go to the Sweet 16 anyways because I need a night to marinate on everything. So goodbye. I'm signing off, and if you ever see me lost in a grocery store, please tell my mom. This is my number. It'll be on the screen. And yeah, I hope you have a good day. And if you ever want goldfish or cookies, just ask me because my mom gives me extra lunch money. So yeah. But yeah, I really want to keep going, but I am going to practice some consistent discernment. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to sleep on my answers, make sure all of them are good. Don't want to be, any bad. I don't want to move on the wrong word. But yeah, for you it'll be like 2 seconds. For me, I'll see you tomorrow. Future me. I'm back. It's just me this time. There's no character. Starting off for this sweet 16 is Flubdub and Felicity. And the more keen of you may notice that there was no round with Frosty and Felicity. To that I answer, do not ask. If you enjoy, looking out of your eyeballs and having a sense of smell and taste, don't ask. Anyways, with that cleared up, I have a confession. I have tried to re-record this section several times. However, I've run out of storage multiple times because it takes me too long to decide. So I will admit, the Sweet 16 is predetermined at the moment. So I will be explaining my decisions for each of them. And starting off with Flubdub and Felicity, Flubdub gets over Felicity because although Felicity is a very versatile word, Flubdub is a lot more silly, and I feel like it's more fitting for the video, and, that's what I'm all about. I'm all about Flubdubbing around, so Flubdub moves on. For this round, I decided Fable would move on. Yeah, that's right, we're going rapid fire. The reason being, Fable provides a lot more rich or fulfillment in whatever conversation it's contributed to, right? Whereas flung's more of just a side joke, like a surface level word that isn't really brought up in important things. And, not all words have to be important. I always try to make that distinction of not all the best words have to be applicable, not all the best words have to be phonetically correct, but like the best word has to have all of these things, and for that reason, flung is out. No jokes, this is serious now. This is starting to mean something. Flamentio and flourish. Flourish, if you recall in the last round, was up to a granola bar flip, whereas Flamentio really did destroy the competition. Now, however, these two are somewhat evenly matched, and within me, I do think that Flamentio is a little bit more powerful than Flourish. However, Flourish is much, much more applicable and can provide nuance to so many situations, especially when they're healthy, right? And I think that's an important aspect of a word to have, and maybe the best word to have. So we'll see, but for now, Flourish moves on. Flamentio. Wrapping up the Western words, we have the matchup fruit versus fluidity. And you can kind of tell based off the very beginning, it's kind of a landslide. Let's not kid each other here. Fluidity is a great word. Fruit has been scathing by each round. I don't need to expand on the prowess that fluidity holds because it is clear as day. Anybody could see it. It moves on to the Elite Eight. We got a silly one up here in the top right with fungoids versus flavorful. Both very vibrant words, very natural words. And the difference maker for me on this one is that fungoids carries a lot more pack-a-punch. I've said packs-a-punch a couple different times, but this one really does carry some heft to it. Whereas flavorful has some of that pack, but is a little bit more vague and a little overused, I say, a little oversaturated, which takes away from a word's effect on any time it's used, and fungoids moves on. Also, try to use fungoids or fungoid in your next conversation and hope to make the other person smile. This is a big round. Fortitude and femininity. This one had me stumped for quite a while. You may notice it is dark outside, and that is all I did today. I tried to rank these words. So, this one was tough. I want to emphasize that, and I'm going to use up the third honorary mention. That again doesn't mean anything, but fortitude, you are honored. You had a great blazing start, blew flaunt out of the water. However, femininity is a great word. It's got such grace and it's beautiful, and it talks about a beautiful thing, right? I think the value the word brings to the table in the overall English linguistical realm, aka the dictionary, thesaurus's books. I'm yapping right now. I'm waffling, sorry. Femininity is awesome. Moves on. These next two foes go by Fireballer and Fresh Water. Fire and ice, again, with the opposites, but these ones are actually opposites, like peanut butter and jelly. Well, those are complementary, but you know what I mean. It's a phrase people say, fire and water. But because it's Fireballer, because it's fresh water, they both deserve a spot here in the Sweet 16, and they've done a good job of proving that. These are two words that deserve to be here, and both have made incredible runs so far. However, ultimately, at the end of the day, there can only be one word that moves on here, and I chose fresh water. The reason, you ask? It might not be this deep, but I see fresh water as it can be an even more destructive force than a fireball or somebody's intensity when they're throwing fireballs in softball or running down the court with intensity, right? Because fresh water erodes over time, but it can also build up civilizations and nurture and flourish people around them, people around it.
People around it. It nourishes an environment. Plants, humans, and I think that's really magnificent how people react when they have fresh water, whether you don't have it often or not. I think it's a very valuable word we have, and it moves on to the Elite Eight.
In the last round of the Sweet 16, behold these two words, flirtatious and finesse. Both can describe the jumpy, positive, fun little dance around an early stage of a relationship in their own way. However, finesse also has a focus somewhere else. Finesse really did put up a good fight, but in the end, flirtatious took the next spot in the next round because, as well as catering to human emotion, it does a great job it can do a great job at describing inanimate objects and bringing them to life. For example, a stream becomes flirtatious as the sunrise gazes upon it, right? I think it's a very good linguistical tool to use, especially for authors, and for that reason, yes. Okay, hello. It is extremely silent, and I'm beginning to grasp the gravity of each decision, each word that moves on now. But no, it literally is dead silent in my room right now, and honestly, out there in the night, I don't even hear the crickets chirping. The world has stopped and gathered for this monumental event that is definitely big and monumental. So, getting into it, flub-dub and fable. Two excellent words. You know, you gotta give these guys props for making it this far. Both I've previously commended for having the capability to brighten a day, the capability to bring joy to life more. That's just brightening a day. It's a synonym for that, a synonym phrase. I'm repeating myself. No, I think I've pinpointed the difference maker between these two, and that is that flub-dub, very joyous word, very innocent word, definitely competes with fable and may even take a slight edge over fable phonetically. However, back to pinpointing the difference, like I said, fable has the capability to be both serious and also light. You know, there is still that unironic fable out there where you're talking about an ancestor or something in a history book where carries a lot of seriousness, a lot of solemnity. For that reason, fable is our first member of the final four. Next round, flourish and fluidity. I'm looking at it here, and flourish has had a pretty tough run so far. It's had some very strong components, whereas fluidity, it fought flubbers and fruit, which are both obviously their top 42 caliber words. So they're spectacular words. All of these are spectacular words. Yet despite their differences in their journeys, they're both pretty similar, and I'm struggling to find a difference maker between them. Some people might get upset at this, and I don't know whether it's my subject. It's flourish, because I think phonetically it just barely edges out fluidity. Fluidity is almost a perfect word, right? But flourish, I love the OUs, I love color, I love favorite, like I love all of that. You know, I've previously said this, I think, in this same video. So I'm sorry to the fans out there that really were rooting for fluidity or the money line. If you lost, $1 million, maybe you shouldn't be gambling. Just kidding. You should double down on the next one to make it back. But flourish, moving on, if you're a fan of flourish. This next matchup is a tone setter for sure. Fungoids versus femininity. This is a round where I wish that words like fungoidal-like or something could be considered. However, we are ultimately judging fungoids versus femininity. And calling someone a fungoid, you can't really call someone a fungoids with an S, right? And we are judging the word with the S. You can call a group of people that, but ultimately, it's just a sad noun. Nouns, if you've ever talked to me in real life or noticed subliminals along my digital footprint so far, you would know that I'm not a big fan of nouns. Anyways, you can see I've been bending this around to eliminated fungoids. Ooh, that one hurts. I'm speechless. I thought this one could have been it, but femininity definitely deserves to be up here, and don't get mad at the fans who supported this word all the way through and through. Welcome to the Final Four. We are glad to have you. Last matchup of the Elite Eight. Whew. One Final Four spot left. Will it be freshwater or flirtatious? I will say that both of these words have been borderline unstoppable, borderline undefeated. These are two monsters, as I elaborated on with freshwater's last matchup. It's a very unique word in the sense that It has the power to give life, to grow, to help flourish an environment of animals, humans, plants, but it also has the power to take that away, to take away life, to wither, to make things struggle and slowly die. It has the power to demolish the human spirit. Whereas flirtatious over here is the last fun, lighthearted word that we have, the last stronghold. Flubdub is gone, Flamencio's gone, fruit is gone, Fedora's long gone. This definitely marks a unique spot in this bracket elimination. A more solemn spot than the typical average round. Yes, I said typical and average. I'm sorry. I will be the first to admit this is where my credibility and me myself doing this judging really limits itself, because there's people out there that value fresh water infinitely more times than I do. I've never felt that fear and that uncertainty. I am very lucky for that. And flirtatious is something that it can almost be seen as a luxury. Flirtatious is, again, the last stronghold of something extremely joyous, extremely almost childlike, very innocent. It makes you smile when you think upon times of flirting and, the little giddy feeling. It's fantastic, and it really brings life to life. It's one of those things that gives you goosebumps. However, the impressive magnitude of having a cold glass of fresh water after a long, hard day's work, or maybe even if those human experiences that where people have been stranded and you finally have fresh water, that is something that I can only imagine can change somebody's life forever. And I think for that reason, fresh water deserves a spot in the final four. And just like that, our final four words are boiled down to fable, flourish, femininity, and fresh water. At this point, I've gone on and on about each of these words, and I'm only going to try to bring up things that I haven't said before, that I am taking into consideration further now, because each time it moves on, the more niche you have to get into the word in order to separate these magnificent, prestigious combinations of letters. Starting with fable. Fable's great. It's only uses 5 letters. And, when you think of a fable, you think of some long, twisty, windy tale, or, a story that has a lot of meanings. There's a lot of inner complexities going on. But only in 5 letters it can describe that experience. That's pretty amazing. Flourish. Flourish taps into that juicy barrel of emotional feelings type thing. It can also just be as simple as describing how a plant is living. It's got water, light, photosynthesis, getting the food up. You know how it is to be a plant if you've played as a plant in the past. Something also to take into consideration. I think B is probably one of my favorite letters. I like B, like the pump, the percussion that your mouth makes when you say the letter, or when the letter's in a word. And flourish, as I've elaborated, probably beating a dead horse here, but no Mr. Hands. No, but I really like the OUs. But which one do I like more? I had to get my balls out for this one. I feel like I gotta get more in tune with the environment right now. I think one usage of flourish actually falls under the umbrella of a fable, because fable is a stronghold of truth, right? It usually has like a moral, a lesson to the story, and flourish is usually somewhat of an action, the growing action within that story, within that fable. As an example, and is the better thing to be an all-encompassing kind of covering all the bases, or is a specific detail something that someone remembers more? I won't keep anything from you watching. I think fable is phonetically straight up better than flourish. However, fable will not be moving on, and I think it's because of that you have to be describing a very specific instance when you're talking about flourishing. And flourishing is always a good thing. And I think it is a very valuable word when you're trying to compare an individual or some living entity with the environment that it's in. I think it definitely deserves its spot in the top 2. Congratulations. On the other side of the board, we have these 2 lovely words: femininity and fresh water. So in all seriousness here, I know I've joked about female, I know that females, bro, in the past, but people that exhibit feminine qualities have a lot of more emotions than I could ever understand or understand at the moment. The female, I'm talking like it's out of this universe, but I don't know, it's true, you know, women have a lot of stuff going on that I just won't get, and usually guys don't get. And I'm being very careful about the language so as to not sound sexist or insinuate ideas of such, but there definitely is a barrier between these 2 words of femininity and freshwater, because freshwater encompasses the world. Not just man, female, like it encompasses the world, the breathing earth, the soil, the rocks, and it's timeless. Water has always been here, to my knowledge at least, to my informed quote-unquote knowledge. Although another thing femininity has going for it is I am an outsider, again, looking in, just like I was with fresh water, how I have this limited perspective. And I know that's kind of a cop-out thing to say. However, I will bring up that the best F word doesn't necessarily have to be the most complex F word. It just has to be the best F word. That means all-encompassing, applicable, beautiful phonetically, and the meaning in the sense of its meaning. I've said in the sense about 50 times so far in this video, so comment I am a linguistic rookie. But yeah, I don't know, it's very uncomfortable being in a spot to judge these 2 words' future and their fan bases as well. I think I've come to my conclusion. And what put me over the edge in favor of freshwater is that I feel like in the realm of where femininity is used, there's a lot of intangible topics that can get pretty spirally wordy and kind of confusing. And again, maybe that's just because I'm not educated enough to get there, but you know, best word shouldn't be the most educated word, right? Fresh water, everybody knows fresh water, right? Fresh water, fresh water, fresh water. I could say it all day, I could drink it all day, I do drink it all day, and I'm thankful for that. And it's hard to be thankful for something like that, so I don't know actually whether I can say I'm thankful for that, but that's something I will always take for granted until I'm either deprived of it or in an alternate dimension. Now that we have our final 2, you might start asking some more all-encompassing questions like, why the letter F? And to that specific question, I'll answer, fuck, I don't know. We are left with flourish and fresh water. These final 2 best words that start with the letter F. Entering the judgment chair for these final 2 words is, let's just say, my knees are weak, my arms are heavy. In addition to these feelings, I also feel a little bit free as my balls are still out, just on the chair. And they're not really cold anymore because they've like heated up the seat a little bit. But yeah, just thought I would update you on that. We've arrived at the threshold in which this may become dangerous. If you've ever heard of Shel Silverstein, I've heard rumors that he's a madman now. You know, as a child, I always looked up to him. I always read his beautiful, works of art. But I have a bad feeling about if and when I do discover the best F word and share it to the world, something bad might happen. I'll let you watch this skit before I get behind the camera, enjoy this thing that I filmed and I thought was funny, and you might too, but you might not. So just skip to this time code if you don't want to watch it. Thanks. Finding the best word that starts with F is not just something I want to do. It's a duty that the world deserves, and I'm willing to pay the price. Anyways, this is just something I feel like the world needs, and it's necessary, even if it... Oh my god, it's shel Silverstein. Guys, it's shel Silverstein. He's right behind the tree. Oh my god, I gotta go! Oh my god, guys, please click the like and subscribe button. Y'all enjoy my 100 card giveaway. It's not a scam, and buy my crypto coin. Oh my gosh, guys, please. Oh my god, guys, he's right by me. It's shel Silverstein. It's just, he's right by me. It's 3 a.m. It's 3 a.m. Guys. Damn it, I'm cornered. Shel, buddy, please. We can talk about that. I can't. It will just be you and me and our secret. Come on. I won't tell anybody. Anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. We'll go watch all my other ones, and let me know in the comments if I should have tried to rizz up shel Silverstein. What? And yeah, be sure to hit that like button, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your hostess with the mostest, Big Ball Tommy, and I will present now to you the reason that we all have gathered here. And the best F word of all time is... fresh water! Do you get it?
Yeah.
Alright. This is a word that fully embodies the essential need of mankind, a secret force that holds the power to both create and destroy worlds, an entity universal in a being's eye, no matter the linguistical abilities, and it has the phonetic prowess of the sexiest angel I've ever glued my eyes to. And that is why it's the best word that starts with F. Again, I say, fresh water. This 3-syllabled mammoth beat out Flourish in an underground shank fight, and Freshwater was willing to not only bloody its hands, but also to take a soul from its owner. As the sun sets every day, the glint of it resides cozy upon the crown of this divine combination of English characters. I have not touched a woman in my life, and no matter what I say, never believe anything I say in the future. If this footage ever makes the light of day, that's the status of me, right? And I'm not lying, and no matter how much I deny it, under any circumstance, there's no secret word, there's no safe word, I am lying. I'm lying through my teeth and my brain. Maybe I've even brainwashed myself, and maybe I may pass on a lie detector test, or maybe the jury will believe me if I'm in court. Okay, no, it's kind of sounding like an OJ, like P did. No. No, okay. I'm just gonna stop talking. I dug myself there. That was bad.
My name's Gabriel, and I drink salad smoothies. I like kale, and I really like being with the toilet seat down, because I like the way it flub dubs.
Oh my god. Hey ladies, if you're looking for a fun goid, I'm a fun guy with looking for females with femurs. I don't really like people in wheelchairs. Just kidding, that'd be ableist, and I'm not that, because I like everybody and I only judge people on their character, and that's all I do because that's what everyone should do, and most people don't. It's actually really sad that people don't do that. And what, Pog Champion, what is this behind me thumbnail? Oh.